Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who Character Options action figure review on the Host Productions. In today's review, I'm going to be continuing my look at the B&M exclusive releases of September 2023, with arguably the highlight set of the wave, at least in my personal opinion, and that is of course the 6th Doctor and Tardis from the Doctor Who stage play, The Ultimate Adventure. Yes, you heard that right. Doctor Who has gone nicher than niche. The B&M exclusive range of 2023 does of course debut a brand new packaging style guide, which looks incredibly vibrant and stands out on the shop shelf. I really like it. Something that I don't like, however, you guessed it, if you've seen my previous reviews you will know exactly what's coming. Once more, we do not have any protective window, meaning anything can touch the figures on the inside of the box. They can instantly be damaged or ripped out of the packaging entirely. To be honest, this instantly gets the review off to sadly a negative start, because at the bottom of the box we have the title of the set being the 6th Doctor and Tardis, and what is crucial, collector figure set. Some may quite rightfully argue that this is a plastic toy, it is meant for kids, it says 5+ at the top of the box after all, which you know is fair, but it's called a collector figure set. It's meant to be for collectors, and when you have packaging like this, it completely conflicts with the whole point. In my opinion, it's design choices like this which make me not take this line as seriously anymore. I don't see them as high quality as the originals from the Forbidden Planet exclusive series. So at the side of the box we have the now traditional limited edition B&M exclusive sticker. This release is of course a part of the 5.5/14cm scale collector series. Above this we have the features bubble. This doesn't mention that it is from the Ultimate Adventure, I think perhaps because it is so obscure. A lovely graphic of the current TARDIS is presented in the bottom corner, and I love the way that the 60th anniversary logo is presented here at the top of the box, again stretching across two corners. To my disappointment and frustration, the preview window does continue around to the side of the box. At the bottom of the box it states that the 6th Doctor is the best, and then we have further features bubbles which state, no really, he actually is. Although a little bit of a compliment, or as I call it, damage control, as we tilt around to the opposite side, one of the preview windows has been removed, unlike the 1st Doctor and TARDIS set. So I'd happily see all of this presented on this side of the box as well, even though it would reduce the view of the actual figures. All of the company information is hidden away on the bottom of the box, and then at the top of the box we have a continued presentation of the Doctor Who logo, which looks very nice. Flipping around to the back of the box now, we don't really have any surprises here. Barcode, copyright and the era there. Again, massive bonus points for this. The write-up for this set on the back gives a lovely description of the 6th Doctor. It opens with the 6th Doctor was initially unstable and traumatised, ain't we all? As well as brilliantly referencing the vast majority of his Big Finish companions, which I love. We get Frobisher, Evelyn, Flip, Constance Clark, Charlie Pollard. Rather bizarrely, the packaging even acknowledges the lack of 6th Doctor releases over the past few years. It comes exactly a decade and a half since its first release in 2008, I can remember the day well, and 7 years since its last release in 2016. You know what all of those previous releases had in common? They all came in more protective packaging than this. Anyway, I hope we see more 6th Doctors in the future, please. I really do like the new style guide. I think it works really well. Can't wait to see it utilised further in the future. Opening up the packaging does reveal this delightful time vortex with this blue theme. It kind of reminds me of the 4th Doctor intro. The lovely blend between classic and modern. It's just a shame that when the thing is completely in its box you can't particularly see this. On the lid there is a little plastic section holding the lantern in place, and as per most TARDIS releases it has been screwed into the cardboard base. The figure has been held in using this sort of plasticky cradle thing, as well as sadly being tied around the doors, which I always hate when they do this. Well, the 6th Doctor has well and truly landed, and he's brought with him an exciting new variant alongside, you guessed it, another TARDIS, but hey, he's got different coloured windows, so we'll let him off. Well, here he is, the man himself, the 6th Doctor from the Ultimate Adventure, and what a brilliant variant of the 6th Doctor, and it is such a joy to add another 6 to the collection after all these years. For those of you unfamiliar with the Host Productions, filling you in on a few details, the 6th Doctor is my favourite. I think the 6th Doctor is brilliant, and I think the 6th Doctor is one of the best dressed Doctors in the entirety of Doctor Who history. I think it perfectly embodies the role and all of the excitement and alien stubbornness that this Time Lord portrays, and I think that Colin is one of the strongest actors to ever stand in the shoes of this role. And the action figure is a perfect representation of that alien absurdity, but also that ego that the Sixth Doctor possesses. He's the man that walks into a room and all of the eyes turn to him, and he knows it, and he also has the intelligence to match as well. So taking a closer look at the Sixth Doctor's rather dazzling outfit, starting off in the very centre with the waistcoat. This is in fact quite a stark departure to what we see on screen, having a vibrant white base with lots of lovely rainbow lines. The sculpting detailing really highlights the individual hoops within the waistcoat chains, although this time they have been painted a rather vibrant green. Individual buttons are also painted running up the centre of the waistcoat. Admittedly, these are a little bit lost in the sea of colour. The individual bands on the waistcoat are made up of a sea of black, red, purple, kind of repeated throughout, and I think this is really nice. Something that is a little bit odd is this gap there at the bottom half of the waistcoat. That is apparently meant to be there, or at least it was on all of the Sixth Doctor figures that are in my local branch of B&M, and something of which that I definitely recommend looking out for is quality control here. It's a given because we have so much colour going on, meaning so much potential for paint leak and mistakes. You know me, I love a good comparison, so here is the Season 22 version of the Sixth Doctor as a little bit of a reminder as to what the waistcoat usually looks like on screen. It certainly has more details. I think that it's detailed in a very different way to the B&M 2023 version. Very similar thing can also be said for the Season 23 Terror of the Vervoids variation. We have lots of vibrant colours going on, the cravat is now yellow, and we have this lovely angular design, and it is of course nothing like the real-time 2009 San Diego Comic-Con release, which is just a block blue, but is still gorgeous. Sixth Doctor's cravat has been given a lovely light blue colouring, the same blue that is utilised on the coat, although we don't have any additional pattern detailing on this. We have the sculpting of the shirt collar. Sadly, this does appear to be slightly softer than the previous releases. It's a little bit hard to see where it starts, and the printing of the question mark is also not as sharp as usual. The dot has kind of blended with the hook of the question mark, which is a little bit of a shame. Coat now, only Colin Baker could get away with wearing this and wearing it with style. The same sculpting details to usual, but the paint application and overall palette has been massively revised. There's a comparison to the previous Sixth Doctor action figures, or at least some of them, where we have lots and lots of colour. This has varied in very subtle ways over the years, however, by the Sixth Doctor's standards at least, the Ultimate Adventure version is a little bit more toned down. It's lots of block colour, and some of those smaller details are now gone. One little detail that I am sad to see depart from this figure is the inclusion of the Sixth Doctor's cat badge, but it does appear from the images that I've seen to be present when the stage play was taking place. And I say this because it is a very personal and important element within the Sixth Doctor's outfit. It was chosen by Colin himself with reference to the Rudyard Kipling quote, "I am the cat who walks by himself and all places are alike to me." I think the whole image of the cat is a wonderful way of describing the character of the Doctor, but specifically Sixie. He's curious, he wants to explore the universe, and he'll probably swipe you if you steal his food, or try and drown you in an acid bath. The coat itself relies on repetition much more than the TV coat, so for example we have the lapels there running down either side of the jacket, both of which have been given this lovely purpley finish. I quite like this. I think that the purple works well, it certainly stands out, but also in keeps within the lines. It really helpfully divides up the various panels. Moving back the arms slightly reveals this almost patchwork design with lots of intricate colours. Purple also continues onto the outer arms of the figure with a number of creases and wrinkles towards the top by the shoulders. As we turn around to the inner arm, we have a stark change in patterning with the block red and of course the black checkers on top. This is of course a repetition of the design, again has been printed neatly. The yellow and black lining of the cuffs of the jacket have also now been replaced with, again, this lovely checkered pattern, also present on the coat's outer collar. Huge compliment. I love the way that we have this tiny little blue line there running around the outer hem, which even continues onto the back with this lovely black and white crossed design, as well as the outer pockets. This is such a stunning design and incredibly neat, and of course you have that lovely lighter blue trim there running around the side. One of the hands have been sculpted in an open palm position, and they have been printed in a flesh coloured plastic rather than being painted, much like the head. And the other hand has been sculpted to hold the Sonic Lance accessory, an accessory of which that the Sixth Doctor doesn't come with, and to be honest, he's rarely seen with. The back of the coat this time round relies on a series of block colours rather than individual patterns. I really love the use of the lighter blue, the red and the pink. They all work really nicely together. This must be one of the most aesthetically pleasing Doctor Who action figures in a long time, even this small belt there towards the back of the coat. In particular, the bottom of the coat is really nice to look at. All of the colours are divided up into individual bands. I think the sculpting also really helps here, the way that the coat billows out towards the bottom in a relaxed manner. The coat is made up of this somewhat flexible PVC, so peeling it back there does reveal the inner lining, a lovely lighter blue, a lovely stark contrast to the yellow of the trousers. The trousers are an unusual one. They are rather reminiscent to what we see within season 22, whilst also sporting a number of differences. As you would expect with this series, the sculpt of this is exactly the same to usual with every other Sixth Doctor action figure, so you have a number of creases and wrinkles. They have of course also been moulded in an unmistakable yellow coloured plastic to give that standout Sixth Doctor finish, but the patterning itself does indeed vary from the original versions. So to start off with, the black pinstripe of course stands out a lot, but this does seem to be a little bit thinner, relying on a trusty comparison starting off with the season 22 Sixth Doctor. Black pinstripe is also much thicker on this original release. Brand new inclusion is also this almost lighter brown, almost grey pinstripe in between the black, never seen before on any Sixth Doctor action figure. So this does give the appearance that the Ultimate Adventure variation is a paler yellow to the original, which to be honest I think I prefer the original finish more, but I think that this finish works better with the Ultimate Adventure coat. It's further differentiation between the TV version of the Sixth Doctor, but also I'm really impressed with this line in fact, and the way that the pinstripes have been printed is really neat, and it's something that previously the B&M line has rather struggled with. I think it would be the wrong choice of words to say that having the vibrant yellow trousers would be a bit much, because after all, we're talking about the Sixth Doctor, and that is what he does best, but I just like the way that it gives more attention to the waistcoat and the purpley themed overcoat. Even the shoes on this 2023 version are different to the TV variation, so these have been given a light brown paint application complemented with a stripe of white running around the side, with the darker grey almost black sole towards the bottom. Whilst the TV version of the Sixth Doctor unmistakably has the bright green shoes with the vibrant red spats. Something of which that makes this Sixth Doctor action figure rather unique is the fact that the head has been sculpted in a flesh-coloured plastic, meaning the overall skin hasn't actually been painted. They previously did this with the Series 3 action figures, and it is safe to say that the result wasn't particularly too successful. Overall, it looks considerably natural. The paint application on the eyes really does stand out. I love the small line that has been added to the top to give the illusion of eyelashes, and equally in the centre we have the blue iris there complemented by that white dot at the side to look like a reflection. The lips and the eyebrows have also been rather smartly painted. Do you know what? I think it works rather well. It definitely looks like Colin Baker, but also the paint application in keeps within the lines on the face. The hair itself is also a really nice sculpt, nicely representing Colin Baker's curls. We have a lighter colour that has been used as a base with the dark underwash over the top to draw more attention to the hair, giving it a little bit more depth, emphasising the various curls atop Colin Baker's head. Quite honest, I'm more relieved, if anything, that this has paid off successfully and looks okay, because it would have been incredibly infuriating if the first Sixth Doctor figure that we've had in literally years had an awful appearance because of them deciding to colour the plastic opposed to painting it normally. Strong likeness ends out what is a really lovely and refreshing interpretation of the Sixth Doctor within action figure form. So moving on to the Tardis. Now I said in a previous B&M exclusive collector set review that I would be happy if we didn't see any further classic Tardis variants because we've had enough already. Well, as a little bit of a caveat exception to that statement, if it's a TARDIS that is meant to be from the Sixth Doctor era, I'm more than happy to add it to the collection because he's not had his own personal TARDIS yet. But that said, I can completely understand if this is a TARDIS release that you don't really want to purchase, because we have already had 2 TARDISes within the range that are very, very similar to this. So what are the differences, and why should you bother buying this one? Well, we're going to be comparing the Season 19 version, because the Kevs Van Androzani one is very, very similar to that. Overall, the blue that has been used on the Ultimate Adventure TARDIS is much darker, and also has a different wash applied over the top. Also note the signage on the Season 19 prop. This is in fact much paler compared to the Ultimate Adventure release. Also note the colouring on the windows for Androzani and Season 19, both of which being paler and all one colour. As with all classic series TARDIS variants, it is basically a game of spot the difference, and this will not be for everyone. You know what, I am going to be a complete hypocrite and save Character Options announced next week that we're going to be doing a Season 22 6th Doctor TARDIS, complete with blue splatters from the promotional material for that season. Then yes, I would buy it within a heartbeat, despite me saying I don't really want to see any further classic TARDISes. Taking a look at those smaller details, of course the entirety of the Police Public call box has been coated in this lovely wood grain effect to make it appear less plasticky. I know some aren't a fan of this design and believe it's a little bit too exaggerated, but personally I quite like it. Of course, each individual side of the TARDIS has your usual square sections, all of these panes, which have been nicely sculpted into the box in various different levels, of course, even the TARDIS doors having this lip running up the centre. As I've already mentioned, this TARDIS has been sculpted in a slightly darker blue plastic compared to the previous releases, and you know what, I really like it. I think it makes this TARDIS stand out. It's a subtle change, but an effective one. Over the top of this, we have a lovely white wash. It almost looks like a chalky design, emphasising some of that wood grain a little bit more. Again, this varies on each individual side, and some TARDISes will have more chalky grain than others. Personally, I would have liked a little bit more on this TARDIS, but I think it works well. The Ultimate Adventure TARDIS does in keep with the theme of the other 80s B&M TARDISes, featuring the slightly more squat base, continues the wood grain effect as well as the various washes applied over the top of it. And you know what, it works well. I'm really happy that they did do this retool a number of years ago, as it makes this TARDIS sit ever so slightly smaller than the Forbidden Planet exclusive releases, such as the gorgeous 7th Doctor TARDIS from Battlefield with the incredibly vibrant blue finish, which sports this incredibly chunky, more 60s TARDIS-inspired base. Flipping the TARDIS upside down, oh look, absolutely nothing, just some company information, how dull. Turning the TARDIS around to the back now, we do of course have the completely redundant battery compartment and speaker grille. This is of course as unsightly as always, but it can't really be helped. The press release for this box set did actually say that the recommended retail price was £34.99 I think initially, so I did think it was electronic. In fairness, the previous TARDIS within the range, it was in very similar packaging and a rather similar recommended retail price, so I did have reasonable grounds to assume that this one was the same and also had electronic features. Although I will be completely honest, I don't really care when it comes to electronic features and TARDIS toys. Once the reviews are done, I take the batteries out, and then that's basically it, and I never use the feature again, because I'm a sad collector. As for the Police Public call box signage, this has also seen a slight regeneration to the other 80s releases from the 5th Doctor era. Again, we have an incredibly vibrant blue that is used in the background, which really makes the text stand out. It's a really nice and clear print, with a darkened wash applied over the top to in keep with the TARDIS's worn appearance. Along from this, we have the usual detailing, including the TARDIS door handle as well as the lock. The lock has been given a usual kind of bronzy tint to it. It's a fairly accurate sculpt. It looks like what it's meant to look like. But the TARDIS handle is a little bit different to usual. Shock horror. It's been given a bronzy silver finish. Believe it or not, the other 5th Doctor TARDIS releases have just a regular handle. It's blue like the rest of the box, so there you go. That's your reason to go out and buy this one for a slightly silver handle. Again, to be honest, as much as I joke about the very small, meaningless changes, it was clearly enough for me to happily buy this set, and you know what, I don't regret it. I suppose the colouring on the TARDIS windows is the most in-your-face change for this TARDIS release, sporting a colour scheme of which that almost looks like a toned-down Barry Newbury TARDIS, with 4 of the panes having this slightly orange tint, and then the bottom 2 in the corners having the regular grey design. Again, a dirtied wash has been applied over the top of this, really getting into the crevices on the corners of each pane, and of course we have the crackled effect there on the bottom 2. Naturally, of course, this design of window pane is present on all 4 sides, and it looks quite nice. To be honest, the one in the actual Ultimate Adventure does seem a little bit like it's seen better days, and I think that this is a good representation of that war forlorn appearance. To maintain consistency with the pull-to-open door, the police public call box signage has also seen a slight update. Again, we have that much more vibrant blue in the background. The text itself is really bold, a lovely white with a darkened wash over the top. Sadly, one of the things which comes with reusing the sculpt is that there is basic inaccuracies, such as the police public call box signage. This is a lot slimmer, closer to the box. In reality, the TV prop, it's much more pronounced. And despite them making modifications in the past, an amendment such as this would probably be too expensive. All four sides do sport the usual signage, and as you can see, the dirty defect is more prominent on others, and this will vary between all of the boxes. All the ones I've seen in store did have varying degrees of wear and tear, which, you know, gives them individual character, I suppose. And of course, you all know by now, both of the TARDIS doors do open to reveal a darkness on the inside. I know how it feels. As always, we don't have any interior card which is accurate to the TV show itself, and as always you need to close this door manually with your hand, but on this one we have the button there towards the bottom. The thing that does always put me on edge a little bit with the B&M TARDISes is that plastic band that normally goes through the doors when it's in the box. The TARDIS doors are indeed a little bit flexible this time round, so do be careful when taking out the packaging, as the doors might flex out of shape and you don't want that. Let's take a look at the TARDIS roof. It is, of course, the 80s stacked formation, so you've seen this a number of times already. As you would expect, it has been sculpted in that darker blue plastic with that chalky design applied over the top. The wood grain effect does also apply with these lines there at each individual corner, and it does also attempt to connect somewhat to the TARDIS side columns, although you can clearly tell it's a separate piece of plastic. Especially as you flip the TARDIS upwards, you can really tell that wood grain effect, and I think it does work a lot better when the TARDIS is a darker blue. As always, the TARDIS lantern is placed above this rather large plinth thing, which I always think does look a little bit too big, and it would be nice to have a slightly chalk-like wash over the top of this, just to in keep with the rest of the box. It's the same design to usual, of course sculpted in a clear plastic. We have a blue wash applied over the top to represent the TARDIS lantern's side struts, and that lid as well there with the little bump at the very top. Nothing really too much to say. It's a slightly lighter blue compared to the rest of the TARDIS box, and we have those individual lines there engraved into the lantern too. So there we have it. That concludes my review of the B&M exclusive September 2023 6th Doctor and TARDIS collector set from the stage play The Ultimate Adventure. These two figures are brilliant. I really love them. I think the 6th Doctor variant is a very welcome addition to the collection. It adapts a pre-existing sculpt, applies exciting new colours over the top, and creates a stunning variant that looks completely different to the TV 6th Doctor costume. Equally, the things that have been changed, such as sculpting the head in actual flesh-coloured plastic, is really effective this time round, unlike some of characters' previous attempts, but equally the paint application across the entirety of the outfit is stunning, and to be honest has exceeded my expectations of what I sadly expect from the B&M line. As for the TARDIS itself, again, this is a lovely variant sporting lots of nice changes, including the police public call box signage as well as the pull to open sign, and I also like the amendments to the window and the overall darker blue that is used. Although for those of you that have 80s TARDISes within your collection, you know exactly what to expect. It's not the most exciting variant, but I imagine for 6th Doctor fans like myself who have wanted an exclusively 6th Doctor TARDIS to display alongside the 6th Doctor on the shelf, this is a long-awaited release. Sadly, the one thing which prevents this set from being really one of the best sets that the B&M line has provided in recent years is the packaging. The style guide is brilliant, I really love the new design, the 60th anniversary logo looks perfect. It's just an incredible shame that the figures are exposed within the packaging, offering zero protection, and it's something of which that I deeply hope that character fix in the future. It's for making the packaging 100% recyclable. The actual protection of the figures on the inside of the box have been entirely sacrificed, meaning they are open to be damaged and scratched within the shop, which isn't particularly nice, as well as of course collecting dust if you want to display the figure packaged. So thank you very much for watching this review, I really hope you have enjoyed it. Do of course stay tuned on the Host Productions for future figure reviews. Hopefully I will have time to take a look at the next B&M exclusive wave, that no doubt won't be too far away. However, these reviews do take quite a long time to film, and let's face it, as life goes on, life also gets busier, but hey, it's been fun. And let's face it, the 6th Doctor and TARDIS has been certainly a nice one to review. So thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I shall see you all next time.